This is the completion of the review of the Harbor Freight 90 amp flux-core wire welder. Looks like I'll be doing another review of this welder on a different project because welding 2 coffee cans with this I think is a little bit outside the scope of this welder. Problem was being I was either getting wire too cold or the weld too cold or too hot. This metal is just way too thin to get a good weld on with this with a flux-core wire welder. Yeah, so this is probably the worst weld I've ever done. This is also the only weld I've ever done that was on such thin metal. So I think it's actually a combination of me just being a crappy welder and this metal being so thin with this wire. Before recording this, I did some searching around online, and like I said in my previous video, I'm using the Chinese wire that came with this. And what I came up with on my searches is that the Italian wire, the replacement wire, provided a much better weld. Because this, frankly, is horrible. I've probably used this about 24 times. I've welded a few mufflers back together for motorcycles. Beautiful weld. Of course, with flux-core, you're always going to get. Let's see if I can get a good picture of it. You're always going to get splatter, but yeah, it's either run too hot or too cold. And I had a few burn throughs just from the side of the slag, even though I was spot on. Yeah, just way too thin, way too hot, or way too cold. So, well, I'll be revisiting this. Be sure to check back then for part 3. It's not going to happen tonight because I just got way too much to do. And eventually there'll be a part 3 showing what this thing really can do. If anything, I'll just take a piece of scrap steel or iron, lay down a real nice bead for you. And I'll have a little more practice by then. I've never used flux-core before this thing other than probably a 60-year-old, maybe a little newer than that, maybe 50 or 40-year-old stick welder that is either on or off, no controls whatsoever, either on or off, which actually did okay. I like that because I could do aluminum welding, which worked really nice, putting a couple boats back together. So there you have it. See you next video.